My name is Abuchi Peter Ugwu. I'm a huge fan of music. I fell in love with music. I really can't remember when I fell in love with music. But one of my favorite quotes about music is a quote by Bob Marley when he said, "When music hits you, you feel no pain." And that's like my love. That's like a quote that summed my feeling for music. I grew up in Jos. I was born and brought up in Jos. I went to school in Jos. I fell in love with music in Jos. I was sound engineer. Started sound engineer. I learned engineering by looking because of music. I was a studio rat. From there, went to production. From production, then moved to a personal manager. Then was in music management for about 12 years. Then now the move to running. I moved to start running an agency. The agency Chocolate City owned. Then from the agency moved to start running the music business. And what we do in being creative is we bridge the gap between the creative sector and every other sector. So creative sector, people that create content, we feel like this sector, which if you understand that 70% of Nigeria are youths, and the normal white collar job doesn't work anymore for them. So the creative industry sort of works. That's where you find a lot of people. So what the people that shoot movies, the actors, the influencers, the songwriters, all those people. So we created this industry to help us manage these people. So we have few clients here and there. Some of the clients we provide influencers to them. And we have this other client that will provide entertainment talent to them for all the activation. Every year with them, we do about 200 activations. So in-club activation, people performing about that. So we manage this process. So that's one. And we do digital. Part of this agency, we do digital. We have few tools in the market, it's like Humans. Humans is one of the tools that help you vet influencers real time, work with up to 1,000 influencers at once. So that's what I do on the agency. Then I moved down to music. So I think I became involved. I think it was maybe when I was 16, 17. I wanted something to do in my life. And the next place to go to was the studio close to my house. In Jos, there was this studio. And that's where I met Jesse, met MI. So it was just a studio where young people used to come and hang out. So it was something to pass time. And that's how I fell in love with music. How did I climb the ladder? So I think first is like hard work. I have to give the room from hard work because I started in Chocolate City as a sound engineer. I remember I mixed and mastered Jesse's album. That was one of the first big projects I did. Ice Prince album, then MI, Adai. But this is about 10 years ago. Like there was this. So I started by mixing Jesse Ice Prince album. I think this is about 10 years ago with the Whiskey. So that's when I started getting involved with Chocolate City. And then I became MI's personal manager. And MI was an artist under Chocolate City. Then from there, I became a business manager under Chocolate City. Then MI was the CEO at a point, and I was the CEO, and I ran the business development. So I was in charge of the business and the income. So after doing that, when MI resigned as the CEO, I left. I started the agency, then I'm back. So I think I think we need to go back to fundamental of what this business is all about. What's the business? Our business is to create talent and create the content that provoke. So give you a backtrack. When you heard Oleku, that content provoked you a feeling regardless. When you hear MI, when there was a Chalkboy era, when you hear those songs, those are content that provoke. Those are great content. And when you see MI comes out and perform, there's a brand that provokes. So it's like going back to the basics and creating those brands and contents that provoke imagination. So, and over the past, and this is why I do the best, like sound engineering is one of the hardest jobs to do. And because at the end of the day, they don't get the glory. But they clean up the sound, make it sound great. So I have that experience, went from knowledge from that. Then the second thing is having been in places that have created so much value for artists. I know how to create value for them. So I know how to create for value, because at the end of the day, you hear a lot of artists, they leave, there's problem here and there, and why they leave is because it's just no more value for them in this ecosystem. So why are they there? And then the last thing I talked about, the people's business and people's relationship, I think is very fundamental in music business. Because if I work in an FMCG, if I'm selling soap or soup, there's a product. Product has no feeling. It has, you can toss it, it's not working, you scrap it. But an artist, when you're working with an artist, you have to understand that these artists have a life, these artists has people depending on them, have emotions, have feeling. So understanding the people is very important in business. And I feel like that's something I sort of understand to an extent. So first thing, I tell the staff, number one, we have to create an environment that people could create freely. Because for you to have one hit song, you have to, I'm sure if you ask Davido, an average, for him to do an album, he has 100 songs. Then he picks at least 10 or 15 songs. So first of all, I want to create an environment that young people can come and create without being fear of being penalized or saying, no, this song is not what it like. So people should come and create a free space that'll create, and that I'll be able to mitigate the risk. Because at the end of the day, creating come at a cost. And that cost have to make sense. Then secondly, we're just tired of playing catch up. So moving forward, we want to attack. So no more defense. So before, people always say, oh, we're very conservative, but I feel like there's a room for that. But it's like, how do we find a balance between attack and defense? A lot. I think the future holds a lot. So for example, 70% of Nigeria population are youth. Everybody I know, there's somebody in your family member or your relation that sings. So if you take a census, somebody knows somebody that sings. So that person that sings needs somebody to take them from like A to B to C. And that's where Chocolate City fits in. And that's what we're doing. And moving forward, apart from that, I think it's high time for us to export what we create in music. So Afrobeat is a huge thing. How do I export Afrobeat from Nigeria to everywhere? And I feel like that's a huge play. Apart from Afrobeat, I think Nigeria is more than just Afrobeat. Rap, I have artists that can match up the best rap artists head to head in America. Is a highlight, whatever the genre of music is, it's high time that we need to not box ourselves into one category. I was talking about jazz. Part of the talent to manage Femi Kuti. Like I was talking about jazz, we need people to match up whoever international jazz is to jazz. It's time for us to move from that box of what musical Afrobeat. So I feel like Chocolate City is the label that will help bridge that gap. I think we should be expecting a lot from Chocolate City music because the music model is changing. So the way of signing artists, keep him under you for a long time, that's changing. I want to be forefront of innovation moving forward. So we're going to have a lot of artists. We're going to have artists that, now we won't have deals, we'll have artists that are signed, but you don't see Chocolate City in front of the name. Because at the end of the day, it's creating the catalog for Chocolate City to monetize and create value for the artists and the shareholders. But so moving forward, we're going to have a lot of signing. We have some signing coming in. We have Blaqbonez. Blaqbonez just had the #1 album, #1 single, and we're moving towards that direction. So there's a lot. By next year, upper years are here. So I always tell every artist I meet, every staff, I always tell them artists have 3 stages. The first stage is the stage of double and see you and lie down. The second stage is the stage that I'm your mate now. Whereas your artists, the artists are blown, you call the artist won't pick. They feel and the third stage is the stage, where you call an artist, he doesn't pick your call, he doesn't send you. And to be honest, in all fairness with the artists have other things he's dealing. The artist showed up at that double stage, the guy was making 5,000 naira. He's not even making. He gets to a point where he's making 100K. It's okay. Then he gets to a stage where the artist is making 2 million naira a week. In the corporate ladder, for you to start making 2 million naira a week, you have to be a brand manager and you must have at least 10 years track experience. So before you get to that point, there's a lot that you've developed, and there's a lot. But with artists, you move from nobody sending you, people sending you, everybody wants you. And by the time you get to that stage, then everybody talks to you anyhow. You get all the value. But for us, by that time you get to that stage, before you come to tell us, screw you, we'll go. Let's have the conversation and let's say, what do you want to do? Our job is to help you achieve your goal. Do you want to work in the music business? Should we create an imprint for you to cater to your sound? Or do you want to monetize your brand by merchandising? So there a lot of this conversation will happen. And maybe. Yeah, a lot. So I was joking like my neighbor's generator in the office. But I think I face a lot, and I feel like just the ease of doing business in Nigeria is a lot. It's like, for example, hiring the right staff. It's like, sometimes I'm torn between when you have a great staff and people are offering them the best to come. And you know you can't offer them. You sabotage the process of letting them go. You're like, okay, go. And let me train. So you face that challenge, and then COVID again was not nobody's mate. You had COVID. People, like most of our revenue comes from live performance, and that has been stripped to like 1/10. So those challenges happen, and the society, just the ease of doing business. I think being happy is relative. I tell you, being happy is relative. Some days I'm like, yeah, I made the call. Some days I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? Some days. I think different days have it. But overall, I think for me, the joy is saying, the fulfillment I get is like, I have one of the artists we just have. It's for the fact that I have a conversation and he tells me he has 5 staff that he pays every month. And when I took over the job, I knew how much he was making, and I know. So I could see the ecosystem he has created and people he has employed on it. For me, that's like satisfying. That's fulfilling. Yeah, so now I have a team that we're creating in Musicwormcity. And this team, the job is to focus on all the artists we have and the artists that we have good relationship with. It's for me to take, so let me give you an example with MI. Okay, MI is, let me say with Blaqbonez, let me give you that. It's like, how do we create an ecosystem that when Blaqbonez is tired of singing, he's good for life? So like, what are his passion? Do we, when I have conversation with people, I tell people like, even dye, he like dyeing his hair. Where do we buy the dye from? Where do we make it? Can I have a dye company that partners with Blaqbonez that will make, instead of selling the dye 100 naira, let's sell it 120. And the 20 naira on top is his markup. And then how many products can we move per quarter? How many can we move per year? So that's for me management. And we have a whole department that we created, and we created that ecosystem. And that's part of the service we were offering in Being Creative. So the first advice I just start, just show up, look for where to intern and start, because what people see, people just see the artist and maybe the manager. But like, for example, we have about 40 staff that works here. Having 40 staff, you have lawyers, you have accountants, you have producers, you have sound engineers, you have music now is moving to a tech space where you have data engineers now as part of your music, because every month when we get reports from people that consume our music, we want to know them. I want to be able to say, okay, why is this person buying my music? What's the emotional side that this music is feeling that I need to develop more content to fit in? So music, there's a whole range, but sometimes it's like you need to just get in. So regardless what you do, even with doctors, I was telling someone, I'm saying like, why is there no insurance policy for artists that anything happens to their throat, they make money? Or people for shows, like you have shows, somebody faints and you're looking for a doctor. So I feel like there's a lot of places people could play. So the first thing is like, just start, just show up. Our office is here, just show up and say you're ready to work. Number one, I'm a huge fan of coffee. Yeah. Anywhere they're selling coffee, people bribe me, they just say, see when I go, you just show, just say show. Secondly, I think I love animals. Animals.
Which one was your favorite? So I found like very vague.
I hate snakes, by the way. I can't stand snake. I can't stand snake. I can't stand snake. I have a couple of horses. I have a dog. I have cats. I have birds. So I have a couple. So I'm a big fan of animals. I can't swim.
Oh.
I tried. It didn't work. I drank water, so I just gave up. Thank you, Musicwormcity. This is my first interview since taking this new role. Like, I hate interviews. I'm shy, but thank you for doing this. The questions are interesting and detailed and well thought through. Thank you for doing this, and catch my interview exclusively on Musicwormcity. Thank you.